Everything a person creates or acquires begins with one thing: desire. That desire is the starting point. It takes the first step on its journey from the unseen to the seen, from a thought into a reality. And where does this transformation take place? Inside the workshop of the imagination, where definite plans are born, shaped, and organized into action. Back in Chapter 2, you were given 6 clear, practical steps to turn the desire for money into actual wealth. One of those key steps was to build a definite, practical plan that could make this transformation. Now, let's go deeper into how to construct a plan that isn't just theory on paper, but something solid, useful, and workable. Hear what Napoleon Hill tells us. First, you must join forces with a group of people, as many as you need, to help you both create and carry out your plan. This is the mastermind principle, which you'll learn more about later. And make no mistake, this step is not optional. If you skip it, you're setting yourself up for failure. Second, before you ask anyone to join your mastermind group, decide exactly what benefits you can offer them in exchange for their cooperation. No smart person will give their time and energy without reward. That reward doesn't always have to be money. It could be opportunities, learning, connections, or something else of value. But there must be some form of fair exchange. Third, once your group is formed, meet with them regularly, at least twice a week if possible, and even more often until together you've developed a plan that is complete and ready to act on. Fourth, harmony is essential. You must maintain perfect cooperation and understanding between yourself and every member of your group. If conflict or disharmony creeps in, the mastermind principle breaks apart instantly. Without unity, the whole plan collapses. Now keep 2 powerful truths in mind. One, you are working on something of major importance in your life. If you want success, your plan must be strong and accurate. 2, you cannot rely only on your own knowledge or ability. You need the added experience, imagination, and education of other people. Every great fortune in history has been built this way. The fact is, no single person alive has enough wisdom, ability, and experience to build a large fortune completely alone. That's why your plan should always be checked and approved by the members of your mastermind alliance. You may create the plan yourself, in whole or in part, but it must be tested and approved with their input. Here, where many people fail, when their first plan doesn't work, they quit. They don't realize that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. If one plan fails, replace it with another. If that fails, build a new one. Keep going until you find a plan that works. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he finally perfected an electric light bulb. 10,000 defeats, and yet not a single one of them stopped him. Each failure was only temporary, and each one brought him closer to success. So remember this, whenever you face defeat, it doesn't mean you're finished. It only means something was wrong with your plan. Millions of people go through life broke and unhappy simply because they never created a solid plan for wealth. Look at Henry Ford. He didn't become wealthy because he had the most brilliant mind. In fact, thousands of men with better education lived in poverty while Ford built a fortune. The difference? He adopted and followed a sound plan. Your success will never rise higher than the strength of your plans. That truth is simple, but absolute. Consider Samuel Insull, who once held a fortune of over $100 million. His wealth was built on sound plans. But during the Great Depression, he was forced to change his plans. The new ones were weak and they failed. His fortune collapsed. And now, as an old man, he may accept failure as permanent, not because he couldn't succeed again, but because he no longer has the persistence to rebuild new plans. Never forget this principle. No one is truly defeated until they accept defeat in their own mind. Most people lose because they give up at the first sign of trouble. But the wise man knows that defeat is only temporary, a signal to try again with a better plan. James J. Hill failed when he first tried to raise money for a railroad stretching from east to west. But he persisted, created new plans, and eventually turned defeat into victory. Henry Ford also faced defeat more than once, not only when starting out, but even after becoming successful. Each time, he created new plans and marched forward until he triumphed again. The public sees only the victories of great men, but what they don't see are the countless defeats and setbacks that came before. So let this be clear. No follower of this philosophy should ever expect to build wealth without facing setbacks. Defeat is a test. It is simply life's way of telling you to rebuild your plans and try again. But if you give up, you are nothing more than a quitter. And here is a sentence worth engraving in your mind forever. A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. Write it down in large letters. Place it where you can see it every night before you go to bed and every morning before you start your day. Let it remind you, again and again, of the one truth that separates failure from success. And finally, when you choose the members of your mastermind group, select people who do not take defeat too seriously. Surround yourself with men and women who keep going, who fight back, and who see setbacks only as lessons. Never believe the lie that money alone makes more money. That is not true. Money by itself is nothing but lifeless paper and metal. It cannot move, think, or act. But money responds when a person filled with desire calls it into being, through definite plans and persistent action.